Hi, my name is Debbie Bennett and I'm going to tell you a story today from my memory box. So let's see what's in here. Oh, this is an interesting one. This is a picture, I don't know if you can see that. This is a picture of, his name is John Schneider, so this is myself and John Schneider. I didn't know him as John Schneider. I knew him as Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard, and I met him on a choir field trip in high school at medieval times. Got my picture with him, the only famous person I've ever met, but that's not what we're going to talk about. Oh, this is a patch from when I got to go to London with cheerleading in high school, my sophomore year. And now that I have kids of my own, I would never let them go to London on their own without me. I don't know what my parents were thinking, but it was super fun, a great trip. I got to cheer and dance in the New Year's parade, super fun, but my kids probably won't be doing that. And this, it's kind of heavy. These are rose rocks, and these are from my hometown of Noble, Oklahoma. It's the only place that these form. I think there's actually a city in Egypt maybe where they form also. But these are just made out of sandstone. They form naturally on the ground. You'll just be walking around and you'll see them. The people in Noble collect them, sell them, make jewelry out of them, different things. We're not going to talk about this, but we are going to talk about my home. And here is exactly what we'll be talking about. This is a horse named Misty. And Misty did not belong to us. She actually belonged to our neighbor, Mr. Stanley. And Mr. Stanley didn't have a lot of land, so he asked my dad if he could keep Misty on our land. We had 18 acres, which was perfect for livestock and different activities that a horse would need to be doing. So we got to have all the benefits of a horse without actually having to pay for a horse, which was great for us. My brother and my sister and I were 10, 9, and 8 at the time. We were just country kids. We loved to be out there. I'm sure my dad just thought of us kind of as little twerps all over the place, but we loved to help out and try to help out. He was usually trying to stop us from doing our helping, but we loved to help out with the horse. At night, every night, we would call out to her, Misty, Misty, and she would come running up and we would feed her and love on her and pet her. She loved to be pet between her eyes. I don't know if you've ever pet a horse, but they have this great spot right between their eyes that they love to be scratched, and that soft horse nose and that great horse smell, and she was just so gentle and so kind, and we just loved to help out with her. And one night we called out to her and we yelled, Misty, Misty, and she didn't show up, which was very unusual. So the next day, when she still had not shown up, my dad called Mr. Stanley and let him know what was happening, and Mr. Stanley and my dad and my brother and my sister and I went out looking for her, and the three of us kids were excited to help out. I'm sure my dad was not as excited as we were to have us helping, but they needed help, so he let us tag along. We were looking and looking all over the acreage, and it wasn't just flat acreage. It was full of trees and 20-foot gullies and all sorts of briars and just different. It was wooded acreage, and so we went looking for this horse, and finally my brother called out that he had found her. So we all took off running, and what we found was back in the far corner of our property there was an old well, and it was probably 6 by 6 and 7 or 8 feet deep, and Misty somehow had gotten over there and she had fallen into it. So my dad and Mr. Stanley devised a plan, and they sent my brother and my sister and I back up to the house and asked us to get shovels and rope. And we were excited to do this because we were actually getting to help. And so we took off running, got up there, went in the storage shed. We knew where all that stuff was, and so we gathered our supplies and went as fast as we could with our little muscles and our little legs and took off back over there to help out. When we got there, Mr. Stanley and my dad were busy filling up the well with limbs, branches, anything they could find to make some type of ramp to make it not so low for that horse, because it was over her head. She couldn't get out of it, and she was obviously had been in there all night long. She was scraped up. There was nasty rank water at the bottom of it, and she was not looking well. So when we got there with our shovels, Dad gave us the task of just digging and throwing the dirt in there, just trying to build up this ramp. We worked and worked, and as we did, she got closer and closer to the top. Finally, Dad decided that it was enough and we should try to pull her out. So Dad went down into the well and tied the rope on her and handed it to Mr. Stanley. So first, Mr. Stanley and him together worked and started pulling. My dad pushing, Mr. Stanley pulling, and they got her close to the top, and then she slipped back down. That nasty water splashing everywhere. She's hurt more because she's falling into these branches now, not just the bottom of this well. And so it was at that point that my dad realized he needed help, and the only help available were these 3 crazy little kids who were very eager to help. So he let us go to the top with Mr. Stanley, and we were going to help pull. And I remember him telling us, whatever you do, don't let go, no matter how hard it hurts or how bad it hurts. I need you to keep pulling. Do not let go, because you're going to get somebody hurt or you're going to get the horse hurt. And so I remember feeling so important that we were actually going to do this, and so excited that he actually was going to let us help. So we got to the top and we all started pulling. Dad's pushing, we're pulling and pulling. I remember my hands burning with the rope, but I just was determined I wasn't going to let go. Finally, after a couple minutes of pulling, and I remember my muscles shaking because I was pulling so hard. Finally, she got one hoof over the top and then another one, and then from that point, we got her shoved up. Dad pushed her, we pulled, and she finally got to the top. At that point, Mr. Stanley took her back to the house and doctored her up. She needed shots because she had infections from all that water and all her scrapes. And then Dad asked us another job. He let us continue helping, and we continued to fill in that well the rest of the way so no one else or nothing else would fall into it. The coolest thing about that memory is just it was the first time in our lives that Dad recognized us as being able and responsible enough to help him out. And he was able to see that he needed us, and we were able to actually be there when he did need us. So that is my memory of saving Misty, and I appreciate you sharing this time with me.